Ideal mesmo para o mundo atual seria fazer o ensino médio junto com o curso técnico, certo? É no Senac que o aluno tem autonomia de verdade, formação cidadã, foco na diversidade, preparação para o Enem, material didático sem taxas e muito mais. Na real, tem tudo que você precisa para se sentir preparado para a vida. Seja para entrar no mundo do trabalho ou te ajudar a decidir o que fazer na faculdade. Quer saber? Senac. Vem comigo. Acesse sp.senac.br/ensino-médio-técnico.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Well, we are back here on Katz and Cosby, and everybody's waiting to see what's going to happen with all of these different positions that are still open. There's grumblings, by the way. Some people are saying that for Agriculture Secretary Kelly Loeffler from Georgia might be that person. We know Pam Bondi has now been picked as Trump's choice for Attorney General. And joining us is someone who knows President Trump really, really well. Our friend, of course, he hosts the great show on WABC Radio, Roger Stone. Roger, what do you make of these moves? First of all, Pam Bondi and some of the other grumblings that I just talked about.
Well, I'm very pleased with the selection of Pam Bondi. I was actually with her last night at Mar-a-Lago and spoke to her for quite a while. Tulsi Gabbard was also present, as was Linda McMahon, another great appointment, as you know, a Connecticut fellow native of Connecticut like myself, and appointed Secretary of Education. Linda told me the president offered her the Court of St. James, ambassador to the UK, which is considered the most prestigious ambassadorship, but she declined because she wants to be here in the fight for better schools. So I admire Linda enormously. She's a good friend.
She's great.
Everybody, Pam Bondi is a terrific choice. She's just as tenacious and just as tough as Matt Gaetz, but I think she may have an easier confirmation that he might have had. And frankly, I think it was a selfless act on his part to withdraw when he realized that the fight over his nomination would become a distraction from the president and his agenda. So I think it's an excellent appointment. She was an excellent attorney general here in my home state of Florida. And the president moved very swiftly. So he clearly had a backup plan and he enacted it. I guess the real question here that everybody's waiting with bated breath is over the FBI. Mike Rogers, who can only be called a deep state quisling, one of the cheerleaders for the Mueller investigation and for the police state illegal surveillance of Donald Trump during his presidency, has somehow made a bid for this position. This is just a personal view. I'm a strong supporter of Kash Patel, former chief counsel to the House Intelligence Committee under Congressman and Chairman Devin Nunes, a man who's prosecuted 60 intelligence cases on behalf of the government, someone who knows where all the bodies are buried and where all the corruption is in our current FBI, and knows that it's on the top floors. It's not the good men and women, in the middle and lower levels of that agency. I think he'd be an excellent nominee, and I hope the president will decide to appoint him.
So when do you think we'll hear these positions be filled? What are your thoughts on sort of timetable? And also Treasury, too, is still open, obviously, too. That's another interesting one.
Indeed. Well, look, the only thing predictable about Donald Trump is the fact that he's completely and totally unpredictable.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, the president will make these when he's ready. He's working very hard at this. I mean, he sits in on these interviews himself. He's not hands off in this process. He's very deeply involved in the process. And he is absolutely committed to making sure that what happened last time in 2017, and which happened to the great Ronald Reagan even, will not happen again. And that is that some appointees think it is their job to dilute or delay or even derail his agenda and his reforms. He is committed to putting together a great team of men and women like Tulsi Gabbard, for example, like Robert Kennedy, like Pam Bondi, like Mike Waltz. These are all great appointees, and I just named her some of them. He's going to be sure that those he chooses are committed to the America First agenda, not their own personal agenda, not the agenda of some special interest, but the agenda of the man who just won the greatest comeback in American political history.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, he has an overwhelming mandate. The American public want to see change. Roger, what do you think, by the way, Matt Gaetz is going to do? I'm curious because there was a report that he doesn't intend to go back to Congress. He could go back because he just got reelected to the new term. What do you think's going to happen there? And what do you think's going to happen in Florida with all, with Rubio, obviously up for Secretary of State? Then you mentioned Mike Waltz. What do you see happening with all those? I'm curious that it's sort of chess game.
Well, I mean, Matt Gaetz could easily win a special election for his seat if he wanted to go back to the House. I think he chooses.
But Roger, he doesn't have to.
Yeah, he
already won it
because he won that for the new one. He won that for the new one.
Okay, but I also believe he resigned. Did he not?
No, he resigned from
this term.
The term he's serving now, he resigned from, Roger. But the term that starts in January.
I stand corrected. This I do know. Even though Rubio's term runs to 2028, because of the timing of his resignation, he would therefore there'd be a special election in 2026 for that seat. Now, I expect Governor DeSantis, although I think he should appoint Lara Trump, I think she'd be terrific. I don't think he will do that. I think he will appoint a caretaker to that seat, someone who will not run in 2026, which is when his term as governor is over, and I think he will run for that seat himself. But Donald Trump may have other things to say about that, and his endorsement, of course, packs a wallop, particularly in his home state now of Florida. Mike Waltz's seat is a reliable Republican seat. We will hold it. I think Jimmy Patronis, currently the state CFO, terrific public servant,
he's a good guy.
Talking about seeking Gaetz' seat, and I think he will probably do so.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So our buddy Jimmy Patronis. What do you make, by the way, before we let you go on all the stuff that's happening, with these mayors coming out? I mean, this is amazing. We were just talking about the Denver mayor. Did you hear what the Denver mayor said, Roger? The Denver mayor said, no, Trump, nobody from the administration is going to try to deport these people, including those who are convicted criminal migrants. We're talking, that's where they're going after first. These people that they know are bad. And they're like building up this resistance and saying they're claiming they're going to be 50,000 people blocking anybody who tries to deport. I think there'll be a lot of Americans saying, here they are,
Well, what happened when Governor George Wallace stood in the door of the schoolhouse and said they will not integrate the schools here? The schools were integrated. I think governors who defy federal law are making a gigantic mistake. The American people have voted, and you're either here legally or you're here illegally. Trump won massive gains among Hispanic Americans. Why? Because folks who went through the process and came here legally resent those who are here illegally, whom they have to compete for housing and jobs and so on. So these mayors may be grandstanding today. Let's see if they're grandstanding when the time comes. President Dwight Eisenhower deported 1.3 illegals. And Tom Homan, who's one tough son of a gun, has made it very clear those with criminal records in this country or where their country of origin will be first to be deported. If the mayor of Denver wants to stand in the way, I think that would be a gigantic mistake. Look, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think he has a leg to stand on.
Yeah, that's what we were all talking about, too. Roger Stone, thank you. We love having you here on the show. Have a great weekend.
And we'll be listening to Roger on Sunday. He's on between 3 and 6.
We always listen to Roger.
One great show.
Awesome show. Roger, thank you.
Many thanks. God bless you.
Hey, sports fans, Danny B here. Before you submit a play today or any day, call my free play hotline, 877-828-0120. Gain access to daily free plays on a recorded message, 877-828-0120. I've been a mainstay in the sports industry for over 40 years and respected coast to coast. All plays are top rated, posted daily on a recorded message, 877-828-0120.